Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
All right. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to your Tuesday night episode of Unscripted, episode number 345. I'll be your producer / moderator tonight, Logan Landers. Joining me, as always, back from his hiatus, got everything moved in, looking all nice and neat, Mr. Jay McLovin. What's going on, Jay?
I'm doing well, sir. I'm doing well, other than 110 degrees worth of heat and everybody running for shade. And apparently we are under a electricity reduction, if you will. But as you know, we got our boy Jeremy Greene, so I'm excited to get this bad boy rolling.
Of course, and if you followed us on socials, you saw this yesterday. Of course, our special guest today coming to you from the Sportsocracy podcast, as well as an ESPN radio host out of Asheville, North Kakalaki, North Carolina, Mr. Jeremy Greene. Say hello to the people, sir.
What's going on, fellas?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. Happy to have you on. Always a pleasure. And we have a lot to talk about that has happened over the last few days here in this wild world of sports that we cover 3 times a week. Of course, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7 o'clock Eastern, Saturdays at 1. If you want to get all the latest and greatest updates on all of our shows, any guests we have on, any topics, follow us on all these socials here: Facebook, Unscripted; Twitter, Unscripted Guys; TikTok, Unscripted Sports. You'll also find us on Unscripted Sports on YouTube and on Twitch as well. But enough of the chitter-chatter. Let's get at her, guys. Michael Jordan, MJ, he has sold his share of the Charlotte Hornets for a reported $3 billion with a B. So, Jerry, give us your thoughts on this. Did you see this coming? And what do you think MJ goes from here?
So we're affiliates of the Hornets, and we had been hearing rumors pretty much all season long that Michael was about ready to be done, that there was a possibility that Travis Schenck from the Atlanta Hawks would be buying into the team, and it was basically the worst-kept secret in the Carolinas. The thing I don't really understand is my partner on the show, Tank Spencer, he basically thinks that Michael Jordan is what has been holding back the Hornets for all these years. And the thing that I don't understand about that is he didn't on the team when George Shinn owned the team. He didn't on the team when Bob Johnson owned the team. And yet it's been the same story over and over and over again. Because this is – I live about an hour 10 outside of Charlotte. This is not really a market that NBA free agents want to play. This is not a place that you're going to get the Nike deals and things like that. You look at LaMelo Ball, who's probably already the 5th best player in the franchise's history, which should tell you everything you need to know. And Muggsy Bogues is one of the 4 that's in front of him, and he's a full foot shorter than me. So this is just not one of those stalwart franchises. And, I don't really think anything changes. You probably get way less former North Carolina Tar Heels that work in the front office. But the question is the new owner going to spend more money on scouts? Are they going to get more up to the league standard on where you spend your money and how you spend your money? Because this team is, without a doubt, the worst drafting team in all of the NBA, and it's been that way for 30 years through 3 different owners.
Strong words. Of course, before we get to you, Jay, we're going to welcome on our boy, Frankie Cruz, a.k.a. he's repping it, Frankie the Yankee right now. What's going on, friend?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, happy to have you on as always, man. But, hey, I'll get to you in just a second. Jay McLovin, talking about MJ selling the Hornets, where do they go from here? Do they get better draft capital per se? Does maybe their fortune turn around, or do you think they're gonna stay the same old Charlotte Hornets they've been for quite some time now?
Yeah, I like to agree with a lot of the things that Jeremy said in terms of, the North Carolina area just is not as attractive a spot for, like he said, a lot of people that want to go in terms of marketing standpoints, in terms of endorsement type thing standpoint. It's not a flashy place, I do want to say for MJ, after he left as the GOAT of the NBA, he's almost kind of the GOAT of business now, because even though he has not turned that team around, the man only bought it for $275 million. He's walking away at $3 billion, and he still has a minority stake. I mean, come on. The guy is a mastermind at making money, regardless of the position of the team. He's looking pretty damn nice. So regardless of wherever Charlotte goes from here, Michael's going to go on to the next venture, whatever that venture may be.
We did see him, reach out some with his in the racing with NASCAR. I mean, we saw him venture with that. That's going pretty well.
I mean, he's got so many things in the water. I mean, this man's stupid, filthy rich. We do know that, me and Jeremy were kind of talking about before the show started. There's obviously rumors between Zion and Carolina, possible trade. Maybe the number 2 pick goes to the Pelicans and they get Zion. Who knows, man? Honestly, I think if I'm Carolina, I'm hanging on to the number 2 pick, regardless of whoever it is they draft, whether it be Miller, Scoot, whoever. They're better off hanging on to that pick than bringing injury-riddled Zion over from Pelicans. I say leave that sleeping dog where it lies.
I would say injury and controversy that's been surrounding him as of late. And my goodness, that's another topic for another day. Frankie, let's get to you, my friend. Charlotte Hornets, how are they doing? What are they going to do this year with MJ gone as the majority owner?
I don't think much is going to change with the Charlotte Hornets, honestly. I mean, it's going to take them a while. First, getting new ownership, seeing how much money they're going to have in their cap space for free agency and draft picks and everything like that. You still got Ball, and you still got, basically that's it.
I'm about to say you got LaMelo and a few other guys.
I mean, if the new ownership comes in, you might as well just look at Ball and say, listen, we need to get people around this guy, and we need to start it now. And it's not going to take next year or probably the year after that. I give them about 7 years or something like that. It'll take some time. And JB and Houston Rocket fans know that it takes time to build a team, especially a winning team, to at least make it to the playoffs. So it'll take time with new ownership, and especially like these guys are saying, if new ownership comes and they decide to move this franchise, that's going to be even a longer wait.
And also, too, another guy he's going into his final year, the 23-24 season, Gordon Hayward, who's eating up a lot of money for that franchise, getting paid $31 million this year. And like I said, he's a solid bench player. He's a solid player, but he is not worth that type of money. Not anymore, I would say. So that's definitely going to help out the cap space. Welcome to the show, Chris Gonzo Gonzalez. How you doing, man?
All right, how you guys doing?
Can't complain. Chris, what's your thoughts on MJ selling the Charlotte Hornets?
Dude made a lot of money and without having to give up all of his ownership. Still owns a minority of it as well. So I mean, I think he bought it for $275 million and sold
that's
it.
What Jay just said.
Sold it for like $3 billion. So I mean, that's a
solid profit, I would say.
Yeah, good investment. I think he's just getting to that age where he's looking toward more laying back and not being involved in the stuff as much, and decided this was the right time to not be the main guy. I'd like to see Charlotte actually turning around. I remember back in the 90s when I was growing up, Charlotte was a good team with Larry Johnson and Muggsy Bogues and them guys, and they just haven't really had a winner in Charlotte for a long time.
Yeah, he did hit 60 earlier this year in February. So, like I said, he might be trying to wind down some, maybe cut some of his investments and just kind of focus in on a couple of things instead of this. And obviously, this was a major part of his life for many, many years. And now he's minority owner, but the vast majority of his contract is gone. Like I said, heck of a profit from MJ. We'll see what he's going to do with that $3 billion. Let's move on to our next topic, gentlemen. Keeping it on the basketball court. It came down this past week. John Morant got suspended for the first 25 games of this upcoming season due to his incident he's had on Instagram Live, two times, I believe, as well as a couple of issues this past season. So 25 games. The real question, is this enough? Was Commissioner Adam Silver, was he a little bit lighthearted with this? Do you think it should have been more? Or do you think it was the right amount? Jeremy, what's your thoughts on this?
The NBA wanted it to be more. The NBA PA basically said there's no precedence for it being longer than this. One of the more comical things that I've heard is, well, it was a toy. Let me ask you this. If you walked into a bank with a toy gun and
With a lighter gun,
that excuse would work when you wound up in court. And yet that was what Ja and his people have wanted to say. You know, there are some rumblings around Ja Morant that are really unsettling to me. And I long thought Adam Silver was the best commissioner in sports, and in very short order, he has proven me to be wrong on that. I genuinely think he is doing. I think he's doing everything in his power to typhoon the sport. And the Ja Morant thing, I don't know where it stops, because Ja's got some maturity issues. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. And I mean, in terms of the suspension, I don't think you could have done anything else because the PA wasn't going to agree to it. And it's striking me as a vicious cycle. And it's something I heard Jay say something earlier about Charlotte should avoid Zion Williamson. And I want to ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't like to, obviously I'm not the moderator, but I don't like hijacking the conversation, but I'm curious of something.
Yeah.
This has been a consistent argument on my show for the better part of the last year.
Okay, go ahead.
If you had your choice between Zion Williamson or Ja Morant, who are you taking?
Ooh.
Oh, God. See, that's a hard question.
That's a great question, though, honestly.
It is. No, it's an excellent question, but it's a hard one to answer because you're looking at a guy who, like in Ja Morant, who is like I said, both of these guys are generational talents. The problem is one can't stay healthy, and the other one's got maturity issues. Yeah. I think if you can solve the maturity issue, then the Morant would be the better way to go because he's not injury prone. But both of those are big obstacles, Jeremy, honestly, to overcome.
So I'm gonna make the case. I've like I said, this has been an argument on my show for a long time because I wouldn't touch Ja Morant. I don't care how good he is.
Yeah,
I feel like he is in a position where I don't have anything to legislate him. So the PA has made it clear that short of him doing something over the top, you can keep doing these little pithy 25-game suspensions. None of this is going to change his immaturity, and you mark my words, he will get in trouble again between now and the end of the suspension. So things I've heard, I can't 100% confirm them, but we're a few hours outside of Memphis. Yeah. I've heard unsettling things about Ja.
And so another thing, too, that kind of just disturbs me about this topic, and like you mentioned, Jeremy, with the maturity issues, is it came out yesterday that Ja's camp reportedly feels that the NBA and the media are out to get them. There's a quote, since I've heard indirectly that Ja and people close to him, perhaps people formerly close to Ja, have this feeling that the NBA is out to get them, that the media is also out to get them, which, like you said, I think that's just a lack of maturity on his part and his camp's part, because let's also not forget, he after it came out, that second gun incident that came out of him in the car, he showed a video that it was pretty much, I believe, confirmed that it was him with a lighter that was in the form of a gun lighting some candles. And there was zero reason for that at all.
He also had the incident with the kid where the high school kid said he pulled a gun on him.
Right, yeah. And that's the Reebok incident with his mother was there. I mean, there's just been countless incidents in the past.
You've had 2 separate instances with his dad on the sideline, got into it with Shannon Sharp.
Yep.
For me, it's just all a headache. And I don't really have a way. If I'm Memphis, I'm looking at the NBA going, you're the one that has to hand out the punishment, because the way suspensions are handled in the NBA, I as the GM, I as the coach, I as the team owner do not have the ability to suspend him in addition, but so much, because the PA gets involved and that's their legislation, Adam Silver's legislation. Now, I want to, with Zion, there is something that's getting ready to change with him that's never been the case before. So this was Zion's 4th year. All right, he's played 55 games 1 year, 20-something the other 2. It's 114 combined. Well, if you know anything about the way NBA contracts are structured, rookie deals for first-rounders are 3+1. So you get the 3 guaranteed years. Then there's the team options they kicked in, which he was on last year. Now he kicks into the big new contract. There is something in that contract. It's called a weight escalator. So now that the new deal has kicked in, Zion has to do weigh-ins periodically. And I haven't seen the contract firsthand. I just loosely know somebody that was involved with the negotiation of it. He has to check in with his weight every so often. If he misses a weight, it becomes every 2 weeks. As long as he doesn't, I think it's every 6 weeks. But if he starts missing weight, they can actually start taking money from him. Doesn't matter if that deals with the Pelicans, doesn't matter if it's with the Hornets, doesn't matter who it's with. So for me, I'm looking at Zion and Ja going, on the court, to me, you're equal players. Zion's been special even as a 6'6" power forward in the NBA. He's very electric. He is also very heavy. I stood next to him. His high school was about 45 minutes from where we're at. So I've known this kid since he was about 15 years old. When I saw him at Duke, he looked like he had gained about 40 pounds.
Wow.
In the NBA, he looked like he'd been stung by a hive of bees because he looked like he had gained about 40 pounds of water weight from when I saw him in Charlotte.
That wasn't muscle that he grew.
No.
That was
But I will say at Duke, he was yoked. I mean, it really impressive. Even sitting in the media spots in Charlotte when he was at the ACC tournament, the 1 year he was at Duke, he was the most physically imposing player on that floor. I've seen him do that. Now I have a way to legislate him that if you do not hit the weight and those things become an issue, now I can start pulling money from you. I don't have anything with Ja. I'm at the mercy of what Adam Silver does. I'm at the mercy of what the league does. I'm at the mercy of what the PA will allow me to do. And so for me, I would rather, if I'm Charlotte, I would rather take the risk. I would trade 2 for Zion Williamson right now, and I wouldn't think about it because I would offload Gordon Hayward to make the salaries work. Right now, I think I could score 20 points on Gordon Hayward, and I hadn't played in 2 years. And so I'm just looking at going, I'll take the risk. Nobody's taking my free agency dollars. We missed on Batum. We missed on Plumlee. We've missed on virtually every free agent we've ever had. So I would take the shot on Zion, and I'll be honest with you, I'd rather have Zion than John Morant.
So we get a comment here from John Suggs before we get back to you guys about this topic. John says, Memphis's GM doesn't want any more games because that's money. You cannot fill those seats. He said their attendance dropped 10 to 15% when John was suspended those 8 games last year.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So, Memphis's owner has more money than God. A little hit in attendance. I understand what you're saying. The NBA is definitely a league where you got to get butts in the seats. And without Ja, this team is completely bereft of an ability to sell them because Brandon Clark and Steven Adams and the lot of faceless individuals that team has, ain't nobody buying tickets for that. I got that. If a team came to them right now, it's not going to happen because there's so much instability with Ja at this point. If a team came to them with a top 25 to 30 player in the league, couple draft picks, and they could get off Ja Morant, they would do it right now. And I don't doubt that for 1 second.
Interesting.
Yeah, I believe that too because I don't care how talented you are. If their liability risk is a cancer, number 1 to the team, number 2 to around yourself, then it's just not worth it. Talent is just not worth the headaches that come with it. And sometimes you have to let somebody go and take on some. And like you said, Jeremy, if you can get a top 25 or 30 guy and some draft picks, I'd take that too, to be honest with you. And I would look to go a different direction.
And John has caused quite a few headaches across Memphis and across the league here lately. But guys, Frankie, what's your thoughts on this? Ja spent for 25 games. Was it enough? Should it be less? Should it be more? What do you think about this?
I honestly thought it was going to be more. And hearing what Mr. Greene said, it's kind of it's funny with Adam Silver. Like, he literally started off as commissioner being one of the best commissioners that I've seen in a while, just like he said. And now it's looking like, he's making Roger Goodell look good. Like, and that's saying something. We all hate Roger Goodell as a commissioner. This dude, I don't know how he was able to just get 25 games. But I'm hoping that this man literally changes his way. I don't know if this is entourage. You need to get your entourage away from you because they're making you look bad. But not only on social media and doing videos and everything like that, but also talking to the press for you. It's just making you look even worse and worse. I don't know if it should come to the conclusion if someone in the Memphis Grizzlies organization, start sending someone out at least every other day to check on Ja Morant and see if everything is good, see if everything's okay. It's starting to look like it needs to get to that point. But something has to change with Ja Morant, because if this continuously happens, sooner or later the NBA is just gonna do what they did back in the day and suspend you long term, and you're probably never gonna come back in the NBA.
So we got a comment here from John Suggs, and then Chris, we'll get to you on your thoughts on this. Theoretical trade: New York Knicks trade Obi Toppin and R.J. Barrett plus a top pick for Ja. Would they do it in a heartbeat? And then he says Toppin and Randall, not Barrett.
No.
They do it for Barrett. They do it for Barrett and some of that treasure trove of picks the Knicks have.
All right. Well,
I firmly believe that. Now you would get several picks because we know how picks work in the NBA is that you're going to end up with pick swaps. The Knicks they don't quite have what the Thunder has.
No.
But they've got a treasure trove of picks coming in the next handful of years.
I think it's too early and too quick to be throwing Obi Toppin out in the trade conversation. I feel like you got to give that man like at least another year, probably two.
I would agree with you. It's just Tom Thibodeau hates him. Like I think he like went potty in Tom Thibodeau's house and didn't flush or something because he just loathes him.
Yeah, Thibodeau is he's a harsh coach. We all know that from his years in Chicago, Minnesota, and so on and so forth. If you get on his bad side, it is very rare that you get back either on the court or back in his good graces.
I watched them in the playoffs and thought, man, wouldn't it be great if they had a 6'9", like hyper athletic guy that could kind of go? Wait a minute!
He's out here
and he's played as much as the Gatorade boy has. So
and when he played in the playoffs, he actually played pretty good. He didn't get no run.
Yeah. Chris, what you think about this? Ja Morant's suspended for 25 games, going to miss a good bit of the season. What you think about this? How is Memphis going to do in those 25 games? And do you think Ja could hopefully change his ways by then?
This is about what I thought he would get, just because of the precedent of when Arenas took the guns into the locker room. I think he got 50 games. So I figured Morant was going to get 25 to 30 games, but get about a quarter of the season. Plus, what, like Jeremy said, the NFL Players Association or NBA Players Association, wasn't going to let him give him more than that either, because their complaint came out in public and complained about what he's got, that they think that's too much. So, but when it comes to Morant, I think he needs to surround himself with some different people, and he needs to find somebody, one of these veteran players that kind of take him under his wing or something. He has to figure out something to get to mature and get right mentally. He's shown on the court he's a hell of a player, and I think Memphis is going to miss him this first part of the season.
And that's the thing that I think we've all echoed, talking about this topic even beforehand, is yes, he's a phenomenal player on the court, but he's just got to surround himself with some better people off the court. Because, there's been way too many instances to count here in the last handful of months where people have been talking about him more off the court than on the court.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I agree with what Chris says. But also, let's not forget that the Memphis Grizzlies actually play well without Ja Morant. And I feel like the reason they do that is because they don't get so much media heat the way they do when Ja Morant actually is on the court. And now not having Dylan Brooks come back, it's going to be even, I feel like, a little bit better, because you don't have that trash-talking player that's always trash-talking on the court or after the games if they win. I feel like they're going to play a little bit better without Ja Morant. They're going to lose a couple of games, but I feel like they'll be a little bit better.
So John Suggs says that they'll hover around 500 during those games. He says Steven Adams and some of the other players that was hurt this past year can help them get some wins. Still say they make the playoffs, but maybe as a play-in team, which would be a big drop to where they were this past season. So we'll see what happens. We all wish the best for Ja. Hopefully he can get his mind right and get back on the court, and we can see him do what he can do.
Well, the bad thing for Memphis is that, they're in the same conference as my 2023 NBA champion Denver Nuggets. No, I said it for 4 years. It took me 3 years of being wrong to finally get it right. But
all right, let's go on to the gridiron. Talking New York Jets, which this might honestly be, guys, one of the first Jets topic we've talked about in quite some time. But Aaron
You waited
Rodgers
for the Jets fan.
Oh, I think that might be it. That might be it. So, Jeremy, we'll have you kick things off here. Expectation for the new look New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers at the helm.
I just want to make the playoffs. I mean, you got Jet fans are funny. Jet fans are a lot like, we've all had that guy that every girl they date's crazy. And like, no matter what they do, they never introspectively look at themselves and go, maybe I'm driving them crazy. Why do only crazy women find themselves attracted to me? And now I couldn't count how many times I've had to temper Jets fans in our YouTube chats and things like that, because they're talking about Super Bowl. And I get where that's coming from, because defensively, this team is really, really good.
Yep.
The pass rush is, I think, going to be better next year, even than it was last year. They're planning on playing Michael Clemens, who they took 4th round last year, who is a gigantic human being, and they're going to play him on the inside. It's going to look kind of like that NASCAR package that the New York Giants had back in the Justin Tuck, OCU and Euro days, where they have 4 defensive ends because they know you have to throw. Yeah, you're not going to be able to run on them early. The question is, what percentage of Aaron Rodgers are you going to get? If it's what you got last year, even that broken shell of an Aaron Rodgers that we saw last year that was hurt, had a lot of rookie receivers, wasn't on the same page, was very obviously not happy in Green Bay. Even that guy would be the 2nd greatest quarterback in the history of the New York Jets. If you get 75% of the MVP, I swear to God, I'll build a statue of him in front of my house.
You're putting him over the Sanchez?
Oh, good. Oh, I can do this for my first year as a Jets fan was as a legitimate, like, I'm not just wearing the shirt because my dad put me in it, was the Neil O'Donnell after we signed him from the Steelers for $1 billion at the time. And I just remember asking my father, why did we pay this guy so much money if he's not any good? I was like 9. I didn't understand being a Jets fan yet. So for me, I mean, the expectation, you're still in a division that's really good. The Dolphins are good. I have some questions about the defense with them, but they did add Jalen Ramsey. Now you got Xavier Howard as the 2. I feel like Buffalo is kind of the baby that's being thrown out with the bathwater.
Be careful with the next team.
I said over them.
Be careful with the next team.
He is a Patriots fan.
Well, and I wasn't going to throw shade at New England. I was going to say they're not the big scary bear that they used to be, but it's still Bill. It's still the guy that has haunted your nightmares for the last 25 years. I speak from experience. And I feel like we're just throwing that out of, now it's because they're going to struggle to score, and this defense is so good. Well, I mean, this defense was good last year, and New England still beat them twice last year. And I understand that was with Zach Wilson, who couldn't play dead in the Western. But it doesn't change the fact that it's still the same defense. That's still the same build. Yep. And we're just chalking this up like, oh, they're just going to beat New England because they show up. And I feel like Jet fans are going to be let down. The expectation for me, the schedule's evil because we wronged Roger Goodell. I've long been convinced that Joe Namath actually sold his soul to Satan in 1969 for that Super Bowl. And that's the reason that we were allowed to win it. And until he dies, we're never allowed to be happy again. And apparently the Medicaid and the things that he's been doing commercials for, they made him bionic. So he's going to outlive me. So my expectation for the Jets, same it's been for the last 30 years. They're gonna make me believe. They're gonna make me hope. They're gonna give me 17 reasons to drink.
So John Suggs gives his expectations. He says 12 wins maximum. Tell me your Green Bay team without telling me your Green Bay players. Oh man, so he's got 12 wins for the Jets this year. And like you mentioned, Jared, before we get on to the rest of the guests here. To me, it's going to be how they perform the first 6 weeks before their first bye. Because they've got Buffalo kicking off the year, Dallas, New England, Kansas City, Denver, and then Philadelphia before they get their first bye in week 7. That is
if they come out of the bye at 3-3, I will be happy. And if they were to somehow win 12 games in this season, you would probably see me on the news for local sportscaster arrested naked on Tunnel Road, covered in Crisco, doing a dance to cool in the game.
I'm about to say, and that's not going to be naked. That's going to be NEKKID naked.
Yeah, that's Southern naked. That's naked.
That's how it's going to be. All right. Frank, I'm going to save you for the main event since this is your rival. But, Chris, let's get to you as a neutral party here. Big Colts guy. So how do you think Rodgers and the Jets are going to do this year, man?
I think they're going to be I think they have a chance to be a playoff team is where I put them at. I think they're going to be a playoff team just because of the upgrade at the quarterback. Because like Jeremy was saying, they got a tough defense. I think that defense is going to be even better this year than it was last year. Just because last year you had some rookies, so these guys are going to have another year of experience. I think they're going to be better this year. And then even like he said, even if Rodgers is 75% of the guy that he used to be, that's still a big upgrade from what you had last year in Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
So, and what they won last year, was it 7 games they won with Zach Wilson and Mike White?
Yes.
Mostly Mike White. Let's not get it twisted.
The legend of Mike White, our version of Tom Brady.
Came out of nowhere.
Oh my God. No,
we got him on Wish. So I mean, he was great for like 4 games and then he broke.
He's the Walmart version Tom Brady.
I think they'll finish with maybe.
You got 10?
I'll say 10 to 12. I'll say 10 to 12 wins and maybe get a wild card spot.
John said, we'd forgive you for running naked only if you lather yourself in crisp while eating a sprinkle-covered donut.
Ian, I'll do it while impersonating Christopher Walken, too, if I need to.
Oh, okay.
Bolts or one of the other impersonations I do.
All right, Jay, we're gonna write that down, and we'll let you know at the end of the season.
But before we move off the Jets, I have to give you this is my favorite stat. I've used this no less than 100 times this year.
Let's do 101.
Tom Brady threw for just under 14,000 yards with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay.
Played there 3 years. If he had done the same thing for the New York Jets, he'd be the 4th leading quarterback in team history.
Really?
Richard Todd, Ken O'Brien, Joe Namath, only 3 that have ever thrown for more yards than he threw for with Tampa Bay.
And that,
you want to know why every Jet fan you know is a drunk? That's why.
That's the reason. That's that right there. Just pull that up or let everyone know.
They're lucky we don't do crimes. Like literally, if I wasn't scared of drugs in prison, I would just smoke it all.
It'd be rough for you. Jay McClellan, what's your thoughts on Rodgers and the Jets this year, my friend?
Hey, I just want to lead off with, first of all, I would pay any kind of money to see Jeremy Greene, some Crisco, and a cowbell running naked. I would pay anything for that.
First of all, I mean, you've seen my wife. I outkick my coverage by a lot. And it was not because I'm so impressive naked. It's because funny goes a long way. Speaking of which, my new stand-up special, Funny Goes a Long Way, be out in a couple months.
There we go. Oh,
hey, look.
Gotta go ahead with it. Go ahead, Jay.
When it comes to the Jets, man, there's definitely a lot of question marks, and a lot of people did have it right. It is the New York Packers, for rightfully so, with Packer, Cobb, and and so forth. The Jets, like you said, they have a good defense. And if you get 75% from him, you're great. You got a couple of good, decent receivers. Bryce Hall, I think, is really going to be the key question mark. How is he going to come back off injury, and how will he perform in his sophomore year? And if you can get that same Bryce Hall that went down with injury, or before he went down with injury, then that's a huge plus. Miami, New England, everything's still going to kind of go through Buffalo until somebody proves otherwise. But I think the Jets could definitely take. I think they can give the Pats and Miami a run for their money if they can bring it all together. I think this, there's a lot of question marks in it, but I would say it's a 50-50 for me until, that they could get to that second place spot. And depending on how well they gel in chemistry, who's to say they can't challenge Buffalo? Because Buffalo still does not, in my opinion, have a running game.
So funny you mentioned Breece Hall. Among qualifying running backs last year, if you had brought the line from 125 carries down to 80, how many running backs average more yards per carry than Breece Hall?
Ooh, how many?
0. And there's one that's close. Jake can attest I'm a big fantasy football nerd, and I absolutely love this guy for fantasy football this year. Khalil Herbert's the only one in the ballpark.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. There's a lot of question marks with the Jets, but if this team can come together and gel, and if Rodgers can somehow or another be, the leader he needs to be for this team, there's a lot of things that can happen, man. And so don't overlook this Jets team. I'm just saying, don't overlook them.
John chiming in saying they won 7 games last year. We can actually say they should have won 2 more. They got 10 times better quarterback and a better secondary. 10 is not out of the question by any means. That's his comment there. Frankie,
I've already committed to if they win the Super Bowl, I'm going to go on my own darkness retreat and smoke ayahuasca and whatever else Aaron Rodgers.
You're just going to mimic whatever he did pretty much?
Well, yep. And frankly, I do it beforehand, but I'm scared to death I'd get lost in the woods or something.
All right, we're going to switch it up here. Not Frankie the Yankee, but Foxborough Frankie C. Talking about some football, man. Obviously, it's the Jets. We know you hate them. How do you think they're going to do this year, though?
Oh
boy.
Like Jay said, if their running back and comeback being as he was before he got hurt, I would be a little bit scared. But to be realistic with you guys, I'm not scared with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not scared with any quarterback that ends up with the New York Jets, no matter what your name is. They've been through so many good names of quarterbacks that we expected to be good. And I feel like the last good quarterback that they recently had was Ryan Fitzmagic. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing really good with the New York Jets. It was just so sad that he was on the Jets. I'm not real confident with the Jets as you guys are, honestly. And I feel like it's not because of who they are. It's because of what they need to bring. Yes, they're really good defensively, and they really are good defensively. They also got some good offensive pieces as well. But the Jets are doing exactly what Aaron Rodgers wants them to do, and that's bring everybody that he wants on this team offensively. Former Packer players, one of them being an old guy in Randall Cobb. So, I mean, I don't think they're going to be that good, honestly. And realistically, if the Patriots somehow, some way can land DeAndre Hopkins, that's another test. That's another big test for the Green Bay Packers defensively, honestly. And it's just not the Patriots. You got the Miami Dolphins, who I feel like are going to be a little bit better because now they got Tua Tagovailoa coming back. Hopefully he doesn't get a concussion. And backed up by him is Mike White, a former New York Jet quarterback who knows the system well. And then you got Buffalo, who we already know Buffalo. They're good offensively because of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Defensively, I'm not really, comfortable with because they lost Leslie Frazier and calling the plays. So I don't know how they're going to look defensively. On paper, they should look really good, but on the field, I don't think they're going to be that good. And then the Patriots, like Mr. Green said, man, you got Bill Belichick, who is a diehard defensive guy who knows what he's doing defensively, especially against the New York Jets. Even when they had a good team last year, Bill found a way some way, he found a way to stop this team. And I feel like he's going to do it the same way, even with Aaron Rodgers. His main focus now is to rush Aaron Rodgers. And he's got good pieces on the inside linebackers, on the outside linebackers to be able to rush quickly to get Aaron Rodgers. So I'm not feeling really high hope on the New York Jets. And that's not because I hate these guys because they're my division rivals. No, it's because I expect the worst out of them. I really do. I really expect the worst out of them.
And Frankie, I got to play this one since I do love you. Gotta hit him with the curtain.
I never understand when Patriots fans say they hate the Jets. I cannot wrap my brain around
Rex Ryan ruined it for you guys.
So, all right. So I'm gonna give you the same hypothetical because I have a bunch of Patriots fans that listen to me and they talk about how bad they hate the Jets. So when you were in high school, if you had another dude that was in your grade and he had a girlfriend and he loved this girlfriend and he had dated her for a while and on prom night he was going to ask her to marry him, and then you took his tux, his limo, you took her to prom, then you married her, had like 14 kids, had like the happiest life of all time. Would you hate that other guy? Because that's basically what you did with us. We literally manicured the relationship with Bill. We loved him. We had the ring. We told him we were going to love him forever, and he told us to shove it in our arse. And then he went and married our best friend, and then burned our house down 6 times a year, every year for 23 years.
You want my real answer? I'll tell you my real answer.
course.
I'll call that kid a loser. Just
Yep.
like I called the Jets.
Well, you should, because that guy sits in his basement and watches increasingly shameful pornography. Don't ask me how I know that.
So John said the Jets are the Clippers of the NFL. Jets are going to jet.
Oh, man.
100%. We are the Charlie Brown of the NFL. I have seen this ball in front of me so many times. And what do? Fall on an acorn and it winds up
Oh,
rupturing a blood vessel or something every single time.
oh my God. Chris, did I get you, by the way?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, guys, go back to basketball here. Going a little preview, a little future look at our crystal ball. Is Victor Wembanyama, hope I said that right, we're going to get it right one day. Is he the next great big man for, presumably, the San Antonio Spurs? Mr. Greene, kick things off.
Oh, his floor in the NBA is, I would say his floor is Yao Ming. I don't see any way short of he starts in with like Sam Bowie knee or Bill Walton feed or something like that. He's incredibly fluid. He's a weird combination of Kevin Durant and Rudy Gobert, to be really honest with you. So, I mean, I think worst case scenario, even if he never really rounds into form as an offensive threat in the league, his floor is Rudy Gobert with a jumper that goes beyond 3 feet. So I just don't see any bust in him.
Mm-hmm.
I fully believe Greg Popovich was ready to retire. Then they won the lottery and he went, oh shit, I'm back.
I'm going to stay a little longer here.
I'm not going anywhere. Honey, you're going to have to cancel those golf plans because the only thing that scares me is I don't know what you're going to be able to put around him. Because San Antonio is that team that drafts the guy every single year that you go, man, that's going to work out. And then none of them have for what feels like
Quite some
5
time.
years. I mean, Josh Primo, I thought he was going to be great with Popovich. And
Yeah, but he was, that's some issues.
Yeah, he was really proud of something he had. That's really the only piece he
leave
left.
that.
He wanted to show it to everybody that would look at it. But I think Wembanyama is going to be fantastic. I'm curious to see. Watch for San, and this is just something I've heard a bunch of times over the course of the last couple of days as I've been getting ready to do the draft on Thursday. Watch San Antonio try to make a move if Bilal Koulibaly that played with Wembanyama, if he doesn't go to Utah at 9, don't be surprised if San Antonio makes a move to get back into the lottery to get him, because Utah's really is drop dead. 9 is probably his high side, 16 with them, with that second pick is probably the low side. But I've heard a lot of talk that those two really like playing with each other, and there is a thought that having Koulibaly to kind of integrate him into American basketball is something that they're fond of.
We'll see. John Suggs chimes in once again, says Victor is Duncan 2.0. The old man that never lost to Duke when he was at Wake Forest, and he could be just like Tim Duncan. Remains to be seen. We'll get to it. Jay
You can't be
McClellan.
saying stuff like that yet, Logan. I'm sorry, but you can't be saying stuff like that when you haven't even seen the man on the NBA court yet.
You know how John goes, man. He's always going to be putting his opinion out there. Jay McClellan, what's thoughts on Victor Wembanyama? Like I said, presumably more likely he's going to be going number 1 here in just a few short days.
Yeah, well, when he came over here not that long ago before the draft even happened, he looked pretty good. I know LeBron James was all over him, touting him as the next big thing and stuff like that. My thing about him is, number one, he's going to go to probably one of the best guys that can, number one, develop international talent. Number two, has dealt with really good big men in the past. So if you're going to come to the U.S., that's not a bad coach to have, taking you under the wing, number one, especially with the track record. Number two, I have heard reports, and a couple of people are talking about where maybe Akeem Olajuwon might come in and do some mentoring with him, kind of teach him a few things. Because Victor Wembanyama, like Jeremy and like a lot of us know, has a lot of fluidity. He's versatile. He's got finesse. The only thing that I want to see Victor do is put on a little bit of weight. He's kind of got that Chet Holmgren build where, and you all know kind of Chet Holmgren got hurt, missed the whole season. I want to see him put on a little bit of weight. I think if he doesn't, then if he tries to go down low in the post, the Jokers, the Giannis, the Embiids will just kind of push him around a little bit. So I want to see him put on just a little bit of weight so he can handle himself down low in the paint. But other than that, man, like Jeremy said, the guy's got an amazing ceiling. He can shoot the ball. He's got 2.5 blocks, averaging over in the EuroLeague. So, man, if you're going to go to a team, the Spurs, Popovich, it's not a bad spot to go to. And the guy got a lot of talent or a lot of workmanship dealing with international players. So I think he's going to a hell of a good spot. And again, I hope he's not a bust. I hope he goes out and does great things. I expect him to do, great things. I just want to see him put on a little bit of weight.
Jay, you're down there in Texas. Can you get him some barbecue down there?
Hell yes, I will.
Just don't get him on the Zion treatment. We're good.
No. We're not going to the etouffee. We're going straight to the barbecue rib shack.
I got
Wembanyama is exactly 1 foot taller than me. I outweigh him by 45 pounds.
Wow.
That's unsettling. Because, trust me, I'm a fat dude, but I ain't that fat. I ain't Zion fat.
Oh, man. John Sugg says Giannis was small when he came to the... Yeah, Giannis was a string bean. Giannis had no muscle to him at all, and now he's just all muscle. He's got the anchor arms from SpongeBob. All right. Frankie C., what's the thing about this, man? If Wembanyama, is he going to be the next GOAT over there in San Antonio?
He's learning from one of the GOATs and coaches and Greg Popovich. I feel like he's going to be really successful over there. I'm not going to put him on the level of Tim Duncan successful. That man, he changed the game of NBA in the center roles. Victor, I think Victor is going to do really good with San Antonio. How many rings that guy wins, I'm not 100% sure because like we all probably thinking how many years Greg Popovich really does have. Really, Jeremy said it himself. Greg Popovich was ready to go. He was really ready to go. He had his cruise tickets ready. He was ready to go to the Bahamas and
the Hawaiian shirts.
He was ready to get tan, not his hair but his skin. The man was ready. He was really ready. And then he called his wife and said, honey, we have to cancel because we're getting Victor.
We're getting a giant.
He wants to at least groom this guy for at least a year, probably 2, because this is Greg Popovich. The guy's going to live until 130. It's going to be really good for him to learn with Greg Popovich. And plus, you got Tim Duncan. He's still part with the organization, kind of like Pau Gasol is with the Lakers. I'm pretty sure just how Hakeem Olajuwon is with the Houston Rockets. You still have those mentors that still come around and to help you the way and give you a wing. And I feel like Tim Duncan is going to be that guy for Victor. But the thing for Victor is he needs to gain a little bit more muscle. I really do think so. I think he needs to gain a little bit more muscle in the weight. And I feel like, getting bigger is going to be better for you in the league because you're going to be matching up with some big people. You got to match up with a big name in Finals MVP and Nikola Jokic. You got to match up with Giannis. You got to match up with some big people. And I feel like him being too skinny is going to be an advantage for the other guys. But if he comes in and builds some muscle up, he's going to be a good player.
We will see how it goes. Gonzo, what do you think about this, man? What do you think about Wembanyama?
No, I think he's going to be a real good player. I think it might take him a couple of years. I think it'll take him 2 or 3 years before we see him at his peak.
Yep.
Just because getting integrated to American basketball and I think you'll see a big body transformation too, kind of like what you saw in Giannis and some of these other players. And I think you give him 2 or 3 years to maybe grow into his body some and to get accustomed to the American basketball. I think he's going to be a real good player, and if they can build a team around him there in San Antonio, he might be able to do some special things.
The unfortunate thing is, had they not traded Jakob Poeltl at the trade deadline, that would have been the perfect player to have with him.
Yeah, I think
because
so.
Then he could have played at the 4, and you'd have had Poeltl to deal with guys like Nikola Jokic, DeAndre Ayton, the bigger guys that are back to the basket guys. It's just one of those things. If you're San Antonio, you're not really expecting to win the lottery because when we've been in it 4 times, we won it. This is the 3rd time they've won it. They've been in it 4 times. So how lucky are you going to be? I'm also curious, does Greg Popovich stop looking like the disheveled uncle that got fired right before he retired and just started pounding beers at lunch? He used to be like the most clean-cut coach.
No, he did. Yeah,
he used to look like
and then he got like Gary Busey about halfway through last year.
Yeah, he just kind of gave up, I think. Oh, man.
Wow.
All right, guys, 2 more topics. Got about 10 minutes.
Speaking of Victor, he actually was in He's at the Yankees game right now. He
Is
threw
he?
the first pitch. Yeah, he threw the first pitch on. The man is tall. Like
I bet his
literally
follow-through was halfway to home plate.
He's taller. He's standing next to Aaron Judge, and he's taller than Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge is huge.
I say he's what, like 6'8", 6'9"? Ugh.
For Aaron Judge?
Yeah, that's Aaron's huge.
Yeah, I think he's like 6'7",
I think
6'8".
Aaron's the tallest guy in baseball, I think.
He is.
Yeah.
Webinyama's legit 7'5".
Yeah. Good Lord. All right, Frankie, kick things off here, man. Your corner,
Oh, my
Jack
God.
Jones, got arrested for carrying some guns in the airport. What you think? What gives you thoughts? You want him on your team still, pretty much.
No, I don't want him on my team anymore. I feel like this guy's an absolute idiot. I felt like he was an absolute idiot since we drafted him. I feel like it was a stupid draft pick in Bill Belichick's part. He's a good player. He absolutely is. But Bill Belichick obviously didn't look at his history records in college. He was dumb in college, doing dumb things, and coming into the NFL doing dumb things again, getting injured and then getting obviously suspended for certain reasons.
Yeah.
The guy's just dumb, and then making himself look even more dumber when he goes ahead and he comments for John Morant and his situation with the gun charges and everything like that. And then you go ahead and you do what you do. I'm really upset with this dude. I hope that Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots move away from him and free up a roster spot. Hopefully we can sign another free agent that's out there, because this dude absolutely is just humiliating.
Yeah, just unfortunate for him. Like you said, he just got in the league, and now he could be out of it. Chris, what you think about this, man?
Oh yeah, hopefully the guy can get some help. But I know he pleaded not guilty today, so I don't know how you can plead not guilty to when you have two guns in your bag in an airport.
In the airport, yeah.
He said somebody else packed his bags.
Oh.
I'm not kidding.
We've seen that excuse how many times? I didn't check my bag. Come on.
That's almost as bad as I forgot they were in there.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you're packing his bags, how exactly does that work? Okay, I got underwear, I got toothbrush, I got toothpaste, I got 2 9mm. Yep, we got everything.
All right, we're good to go. Ready for the flight?
Drawers, toothpaste, bang bangs. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Let's go on the flight.
And then, and he just didn't have regular magazines. He had loaded magazines, and he had multiple. It said something like multi-round. It must have been some high-powered magazine. It wasn't just your basic mag he had in there.
Like an extended mag or something.
Yeah, just something
Bro.
you need to be bring to an airport, dude. Come on.
They were in a Glock box. And literally, it's borderline impossible for you to tell me you didn't know this. I covered this kid. He was one of my players to watch in the draft 2 years ago because the talent's crazy.
Yeah,
but the number
he's
one
great.
thing that you should know about Jack Jones that should make this, we'll say not that surprising. He got kicked off the team at USC, which is where he started, for robbing a Panda Express. Hey, if you're going to rob a restaurant, maybe choose a place whose most expensive plate is more than $8. I mean, just in theory. I don't do crimes. I live by a very basic, I just don't do crimes. But
that's like Brittany saying, well, I didn't know I had weed in my bag when I went to the airport security. I mean, hey, if it worked for Brittany, it can work for me. I mean,
he's a super talented kid. I mean, if Bill can't get it out of him, I don't know who will.
Yeah.
But I literally pulled up my we talked about this on the show today, and I pulled up my draft profile on him, and the headline for every player I have a grade, their name, and all the information that I need for our draft coverage. And my headline underneath his name was "This kid is not a rocket surgeon."
And that has been proven to be true, Jeremy Greene. Oh my goodness. Oh, John also said don't forget the $4 drink. Yeah, so make that a $12 combo.
Oh yeah, that's right. If you don't pull your Yeti out, then they hammer you.
All I know is it packed his bags. He was going on a plane.
Yeah.
I heard he was going to like Texas to a shooting gun range or something like that. You know, he just wanted his Glocks. Leave the man alone.
God.
It's his
Just
personal
ship
Glock.
them UPS. It's very easy to do. I travel
well,
all
no,
over
but
the country.
hey, Jeremy, all you had to do, you're allowed to take firearms as a check bag. Why is it in your check baggage? Like, what the hell? I mean, are you afraid to sit on the aisle seat or next to the exit door? I mean, what's going on?
It seems like he hit every branch is stupid.
I've probably flown on 1,000 commercial flights in my life. And in the last 55 minutes, you probably realize that I have a propensity to piss people off. I have never, ever gone, I have to have my 1911 just to get on a plane and then get off of it.
Right. I mean, there you go. I mean, we can't sort of any better than that.
He did have court today, and he pleaded not guilty.
Right. Which, I don't know how you do that. It's there's photo proof. There's proof everywhere. Come on.
Because he's not guilty, Logan. He didn't pack his bag.
Sorry for that, Frankie. I didn't think about that. How could I? All right, final topic, fellas. Has the running back position value, has it plummeted in the National Football League? Jeremy, I'll let you start things off.
If I had a son that played football, I would literally dictate to the coach he will play any position but running back, because your shelf life in this league is just, it's non-existent. I mean, you look around the league, you've got Ezekiel Elliott, who was a top 10 pick, Leonard Fournette, that was a top 10 pick. I mean, and not terribly long ago, Kareem Hunt, who led the league in rushing, all these different running backs, Dalvin Cook, and these guys can't find a job, and it's because you look at the draft. And 20 to 25 guys come out every year that have plenty of tread on the tires. You're going to play them in a rotation anyway. Look at the Miami Dolphins. Everybody talks about Dalvin Cook going to the Dolphins. If you're Miami, why in the world would you spend the money to do that? Why would I not take a shot on another linebacker? Or I've already got Devin Achane that I just drafted in the 3rd round. I've already got Raheem Mostert. I've already got Jeff Wilson. So I've got a bunch of bites at this running back apple. I understand Dalvin Cook's better. He's also he's played one completely injury-free year in his life, and I got to pay him. I'm good. For me, it is rare is the day that I say I would draft a running back in the 1st round. Now, I had Bijan Robinson as my number 1 player in this last draft class because I do think he is special. But you also have to know that receiver that you take in the top 10, you're getting 8, 9, 10 years out of that guy. You're lucky to get a running back to the option year where you aren't ready to just wipe your hands of it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I would give no running back a second contract. Even Saquon Barkley, who I think is as special a running back as we have ever seen from a sheer talent perspective, I would have even looked at him and said, I'm going to let somebody else give you that deal. I know that offense is built around it, but I don't care. I can't have that albatross of a deal around my salary cap.
And Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, but we've been seeing that as of late these last couple of years where, we've seen teams draft a running back, and then once that rookie contract is up, they end up going to another team either via trade or just not getting picked up by the team that they were on and signing with a new team. I feel like, and Jay, I'm not going to knock your teams, but look at the Dallas Cowboys, for instance. They got rid of Ezekiel Elliott, and then they franchise tag, if I'm not correct, they franchise tag Tony Pollard. I mean, it's just like a thing now in the NFL, and I feel like that started since Todd Gurley.
Yeah, Todd Gurley, tremendous talent, just kept getting hurt. John said Henry's special talent, but always gets hurt when it counts. Pollard hurt, Barkley, Zeke. He said he'll give running backs tops a 3-year deal.
And that's why I just don't take him in the 1st round. Kuiper was the first one to say this of, I'm never going to take a running back in the 1st round. I always just felt like he didn't finish that sentence, and so people hammered him.
Yeah,
I'm not taking a running back in the 1st round because I'm wasting that 5th-year option year. I'm catching that guy on still a value on the 5th year, but with a running back, I'm overpaying them. I mean, look how many guys you can go get right now.
Good point.
Kareem Hunt would literally fly himself to your city if you would give him $3.5 million with $2.5 in incentive. He would pick up a commercial flight. Hopefully he flies better than Jack Jones, but he would get himself there and show up in your town. Just please, God, give me something. And he led the league in rushing.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what Saquon Barkley's fighting for, right? I don't think he's fighting for money value. I think he's fighting for yearly value.
Yeah.
He wants to stay with a team for a long period of time because I feel like he knows in his mind that if he gets a short contract deal, 3 years, 4 years, that he's done. He's not going to stay with that team. He's going to end up having trouble, or at least, dealing with the hiccup of looking for another team. He's an absolute fantastic player, no doubt about it. And I feel like Saquon Barkley can get picked up by any team. But I feel like him, he's more of like, well, I want to stay with the team that drafted me because I know that what I can bring to this team. I don't want to be here for just 1, 2 years, 3 years tops. I want to be here for the long haul.
I had an agent in the NFL tell me, it was right before the draft this year. He said, I've got 2 running backs in this upcoming class, and I am literally telling teams, I do not want you to draft my guy. I want to be an undrafted free agent. I'm going to pick a spot, sign a 2-year deal, and then I'm going to get a legit bite at the apple if the kid's as good as we think he is.
That's it. Wow. Okay. That is super
these weren't top. I'm actually trying to. One of them was Dwayne McBride from UAB, and I can't remember who the other one was. And he was literally telling teams, I want to dictate the deal because I want to get this guy into unrestricted free agency as quick as possible to get a legit bite at the free agency app.
Huh. I've never even thought of that, but yeah, that's an interesting strategy.
It confounded me. And then I saw how many running backs there were that I had draftable grades on that didn't get drafted, and I'm just curious how many agents were telling teams that. Do not take my guy in the 7th round. That adds an extra year where it's good for you, but it's not good for me. And I'll sign with you as an undrafted free agent if that's what you want. But I'm going to do this as a 1-2-year deal. Hope the kid gets on the field, and then maybe I can make some money as a 23-year-old free agent as opposed to a 27-year-old or 26-year-old free agent that's maybe not got nearly as much tread left on the tire. Huh.
Yeah, that's a crazy concept there. Chris, let's get your quick thoughts on this. Has the running back value plummeted in probably recent years? John said 15. Do you think it's been like that in recent years?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the just shelf life for a running back, like Jeremy had said. You guys you don't see these guys go get a second contract anymore. Yep. And me and Jay talked about this a little bit last night. I think some of that is the supply of running backs as well. It's so easy for these teams to find a young running back for cheap that they can bring in and replace these guys, where at other positions you don't have that supply. This supply is not as big. It seems like running backs, there's so many of them. And I think that hurts the value of the running back position as well, because these teams can just always find a cheaper option, go by committee and be able to get about the same results as paying one of these guys a bunch of money, and then they only work out for a couple of years and you're stuck with a big contract.
Yeah, good point. All right, fellas, final thoughts here.
I didn't get to go.
Sorry, Jay. Go ahead, Jay. Talk about your other running backs here.
Listen. I pay my dues like everybody else.
Look, man, you've been gone for so long. I forgot you were up there.
I know, man. Hey, look, here's the deal. I kind of agree with what Jeremy. The whole undrafted thing. I get that. It's like you're betting on yourself, and you're putting your money all on yourself. And if it pans out for you, then you're great. And if he only gives 1 or 2 years, even at the vet minimum. Okay, if it didn't pan out, you get out of the league, don't worry. You got a couple $100,000. I can go pay for my college tuition. It's paid for. I'll pick my life back up where I left off. And then we just continue mission. So it's not a bad deal. It's always going to work out no matter what. So I like that idea. I think it's probably a really smart idea, especially if you know you're going to be a later round guy for the things that Jeremy talked about being a later round guy. It's smart. Secondly, yeah, I do think it's very undervalued. But at the same time, it's undervalued for a reason. Again, like Chris said, because there's such a large supply and very little demand, because you can go get the cheap guy. That's another reason. We looked at the pay scale by position a while back on this show. We knew quarterback was the number 1 spot. Linebacker was like the number 2 spot. Then you had defensive ends around number 3, offensive tackle around number 4. And then, everybody else kind of trickled down from there. And I think running back was like 5 or 6, I think around 6, I think at the most valued position in the league. So they come around number 6, and they're averaging around $10 million a year. $10 million. So that just kind of tells you where you are. Jonathan Taylor, he's up for contract. Dalvin Cook, Zeke are out of work. So it just goes on and on. So you got to take what you can get and where you can get it, man. And because like Jeremy said, and I would tell my kid the same thing: don't go running back. If you like running back, go linebacker, because you're going to be better off for it. So at the end of the day, it is undervalued, but it's undervalued for a reason. It doesn't carry the weight that it once did, and it's just where it's like the fullback. We don't even use a fullback anymore. That position is done away with, and that's kind of where we're going. As an offensive-minded type teams.
Go kicker, go punter. My buddy Pat McAfee would tell you the exact same thing. You do it forever.
For the brand. That's all it is.
For the brand, baby. He could still come back and punt to this day.
Oh, I'm sure he could. Hey, he's doing the same in
WWE.
I was about to say, he's doing good there.
He's one of the most freakishly athletic people I've ever met in my life.
He is. Yeah, and all the things that he can do, it's just stupid. The way he brands himself is crazy.
That's how you just got that Bad.
I steal everything he does, all of it, and I tell him that. Like, I went to college with two of his producers. We were in college at the same time. We just didn't know each other then.
Okay.
I went to college with two of his producers that are friends of mine, and I will see an idea they come up with and go, "Yep, I'm stealing that.
I'm
shit
taking
in
that one for the
about
show."
26 minutes. I ain't even gonna wait for you to post it to steal it."
Hey, Jeremy doesn't even know that I'm trying to steal some of his stuff. I'm just doing it on the download.
We're all just in a circle here at this point.
I'll tell you what, they put on a heck of a show every day. I watch Pat's show about every day, and they put on.
Y'all don't even know this, but I literally have a picture of Jeremy Greene on Tybee Island with the beer in his hand, with this pose as he's looking into the sky, and it has captured the Golden God.
That's tremendous.
With my mullet flying in the wind, that somehow I managed to keep for 2.5 years and got a legit, honest to God 10 to marry me with me looking like the Cowardly Lion at the wedding.
Oh. Final thoughts. Jeremy Greene, once again, thank you so much for coming on the show today, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, talking some sports with you. Tell the people at home where they can find you, where they can listen to you, and all your social medias you want to plug. On Twitter, I am at ESPN Draft Nerd. I do all things draft. Basically, 51 weeks out of the year is the NFL. 1 week out of the year is the NBA. So this just so happens to be that NBA week, which seems to be the most tedious week of my year. But all the social media is at the Sportsocracy, 3 to 6 Eastern. It's ESPN Radio Asheville, Fox Sports Greenville. I don't even remember all the call letters. But thanks so much for having me. You can always find us at the Sportsocracy. And I got a mock draft coming out tomorrow. If you know absolutely nothing of the NBA draft, I am doing it is a 30-minute mock draft. 30 first-round picks, 60 seconds, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. They're all reels. You can search through them a thumb at a time, and there are going to be some very crude jokes in that. So if you offend easily, that might not be the best place to see me. I'm going to make a lot of fun of a lot of NBA prospects because I will say 17 of the 30 dudes that are going to get drafted in the first round on Thursday night will be selling car insurance by this time in 2028. Wow.
Just give me a sneak peek who you got the Rockets taking it for.
No,
Your score's easy. It all depends on trade. If no trade happens, you got Wembanyama going 1 to the Spurs. Brandon Miller go 2 to the Hornets because Scoot Henderson and LaMelo Ball playing in the same backcourt that would be like me trying to do a show with Chris Farley. We're just going to try to see who yells the loudest, and nobody's ever going to hear squat. Then you'll
Stop right there, Jeremy, because you make him watch your show, Jeremy. Don't.
I'm going to watch it regardless.
You can give a little teaser, but we're not.
I am going to give a teaser because I'm not going to tell him exactly who it is, but I'm going to give him a 50-50 shot. His name just went completely out of my head.
See, that's why you got to tune in tomorrow.
What is the kid? I've literally been doing interviews since 6:00 this morning, and I think my brain just broke. Henderson, we'll go 3 to whoever has that pick. New Orleans is trying hard, but I don't know if they get the I don't know if they get the compensation right. New Orleans would give up Zion to get I cannot think who. What is his name?
Henderson.
Scoot Henderson.
Scoot. God, I was sitting here going Pookie, but it's one of these. It's got 2 O's. I remember that. Scoot Henderson. And then one of the Thompson brothers is going to go for. They're the 2 best players in this class outside of the top 3.
Jeremy,
it's if you want the one that can shoot or if you want the one that can slash. Because one of them can't play dead in the Western from beyond the 3-point line, and the other one would probably get rejected by me at the rim. I'm telling you right now, these are 2 twin brothers that grew up together, and I swear they must have only played 21 with each other. Because I'm only going to do what you can't do. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that's some funny shit.
That's amazing, man. Well, Jeremy, hey, once again, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been an absolute blast having you on. We're going to have you back on again once the NFL is back in full swing. Once again, have a good night, man, and we all appreciate you coming on.
Anytime. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. All right, gentlemen, let's wrap things up here. Jay McLovin, final thoughts on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I want to say again, thank you to Jeremy Greene for coming on the show from Sportsocracy, ESPN Radio Asheville. Just an amazing guy, always willing to give of his time. Appreciate you. I really don't have much to add other than Astros, for the love of God, man, can we just all get on the same page? Can we all just get on the same page and pitch and hit at the same time? That's all I have. Just consistency.
Amen. Amen, brother. Amen.
Hey, John, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate the love you give us all night, man.
Jay.
He said, wait, hold on. Logan asked Logan, how is Houston doing? Well, how is his Houston doing? I don't got a damn clue.
Logan asked Logan. Logan,
Hey,
you're a Houston fan now, Logan?
Hey, Jay, who's the only team that swept Houston Astros this year?
Shut up, Chris. You know who it was.
Hey, let's give Chris some props, though. There ain't no one who thought this team's going to be worth nothing this year, except for the man.
Hey, look, even Chris didn't even know that.
Even Chris had that much. I don't think Chris had that much faith
I feel like Chris did know, and I feel like Chris was just waiting for this day.
It's just a welcome surprise.
Right, David. And we're winning right now. We're going for 10 in a row tonight.
I'm not even going to say, I wouldn't even talk trash to Chris right now, honestly. I'm staying away.
I'm about to say, Chris on top of the world right now, man. The Reds are first in the National League Central. But Chris, hate to say, brother, you're still behind the Braves in terms of the best record in the National League. I'm just saying.
And we play the Braves. We play the Braves starting Friday,
real soon. So I'd say that's going to be a fun series, though, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, two of the hottest teams.
Yeah, honestly, man. About to say, Chris, final thoughts on tonight's show, man. Anything you want to bring up?
Thanks to Jeremy for coming on. I really enjoyed the conversation, and then I just hope the Reds keep playing well. It was nice. One of my favorite Reds, Joey Votto, came back last night and had a big night. His first night back. Reds are up 4-1 early tonight, so hopefully we can hold on and pick up another win.
There you go.
Also be another series win, be like 6 series in a row.
John said you got a $1 bet and you won $800. It feels like. With these Reds. Frankie the Yankee, final thoughts for tonight, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for Jeremy Greene coming on. It's really huge when we have a special guest come on here at Unscripted. We try to be respectful as possible, and I feel like I'm going to give my shout out to all the boys on here because we actually normally sometimes we go off the rail, but tonight we actually did good, and I couldn't be more proud of my boys tonight, especially Jay McLovin, who sometimes turned into Jamal. But I'm also agreeing with I'm also going to agree with Jay, though. You know, not only with the Astros, but the Yankees too, man. Jay, this time last year, we were on top of the baseball world, man.
Bro.
We were already looking at the ALCS, and now we're just looking at top and saying, can we get back to where we were? Like, what the hell is going on? The Yankees are on a 4-game losing streak. We're winning right now against Seattle 3-0 on the top of the 5th. So that's a big plus. But, you know, damn, what the hell is going on? Like, the Cincinnati Reds are winning. The Arizona Diamondbacks are looking good.
Diamondbacks haven't been shut out once this year.
The Yankees are bad. The Astros are bad. Like, but I am gonna say this tonight. Everybody keep your eye open against this game with the Astros and the Mets because Justin Verlander is back in Houston. He's pitching for the Mets tonight.
He's got.
I can't wait to watch that. I cannot wait.
He's going up against Framber Valdez, our number one guy. So
you got to get us.
We can just pitch and hit at the same time.
There's a lot of good matchups tonight.
Baseball's got some good series going on right now. Once again, John, we appreciate the love and support you give us all night, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. I will say, though, fellas, my final thoughts before we get to Thursday's show. We're going to talk about this more in depth on Thursday. I just saw it come across ESPN. The Sacramento Kings G League affiliate, the Stockton Kings, they've now made history. First time in G League history that 2 women will lead an affiliate team. Going to be a head coach and a general manager. So we'll talk more about that on Thursday, along with so much other sports topics. We got the College World Series going on. That's getting kind of wrapped up. Some teams are dwindling down there.
Wild.
I'm going to say NBA free agency. The NBA draft is on Thursday, for God's sake. So we've got so much more to talk about this upcoming week. Once again, check us out Tuesday, Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Saturdays at 1. For all my absolute just amazing guest hosts or guest friends, whatever you want to call them, we got Jay McLovin, Frankie the Yankee, Chris Gonzo Gonzalez, and, of course, our special guest, Jeremy Greene. Once again, go check him out at all of his links he mentioned earlier. I've been your host and producer tonight, Logan Landers. Have a great night, everyone, and we will talk to you again on Thursday.